What's up, YouTube family? Tio here, Simplistic Fishing, back at you tonight to talk to you about the THSBA or Texas High School Bass Association regular season that we just completed this last weekend. We actually had a pretty much a 2-day tournament, but it was two tournaments on the same lake back to back. So you had a Saturday tournament and a Sunday tournament. And the boys, my son Landon and his teammate Jackson, they were actually leading going into this tournament for Angler of the Year. This would be back-to-back years for doing it. So it was super exciting going into it to see if they were going to be able to hold it off. And then on top of that, Rockwall, as a high school, this would be their back-to-back if they could hold off the fight going into this weekend as well. So we had a lot on the line going into this tournament on Lake Tawakoni. I'll break it down for you, show you guys how the boys did, and then we're going to follow up. And I want to talk to you about how the pre-fishing went for this thing, as well as our strategy going into this tournament and really what we were focusing on. Hopefully it'll help you out on one of your local lakes, or especially if you're fishing a lake that may be a little bit low for some reason. If it is, this video will definitely help you out. So anyway, stick around. Got some good stuff for you. Let's roll. All right, so let's start off. Let's talk about really how this tournament unfolded. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk to you first about how the boys did. They did great in this tournament, so we'll talk about that, and then I'm going to follow that up with how we actually, really approached the tournament, our strategy, what worked, what didn't work. So to start off with, we're going into this weekend, just like I mentioned, with Angler of the Year on the line, as well as Team of the Year on the line with Rockwall. Our tournament that was supposed to be scheduled for Cedar Creek a few weeks ago got canceled due to the ice and storms and stuff like that. So they moved it to Tawakoni for Sunday. So we already had our final season tournament scheduled for Saturday. So they just basically added on a tournament to the end and made it on Sunday. So going into this tournament, the Jackson and Landon both had, I think they had a 15-point lead, 14 or 15-point lead going into this weekend for Angler of the Year. So pretty much what that means is that you have 15 places to give, or 14 places to give go into the tournament. So pretty tight when you're talking about some guys that are below us that are really good. The guys that were directly below us had already won a tournament. And in fact, this weekend, the guys that were just a few spots below us as well, they actually won the tournament on Tawakoni. So some really good stuff. So let's talk about it. First off, we're going into Saturday. We've got, first off, Thursday and Friday is super, super windy. Very hard to do any type of pre-fishing or anything like that. So you're kind of going to this tournament not blind, because we had pre-fished the weekends before, but not like completely on top of the fish, because we opted out on Friday just because it was too dangerous the conditions to be out there. So start off the tournament on Saturday. We start off on our first spot, and I'm not going to share you that spot at all, because it's it's one of those things that we just need to protect ourselves from a tournament thing. But we start off on our first spot, and we actually had our limit by 7:55 a.m. The tournament started at 7. So lines in at 7, and we already had our limit at 7:55. So Jackson and Landon are ecstatic. At that time, our limit wasn't really big fish. We weren't really on a bunch of big fish. In fact, we kind of struggled to find the really big fish, even in pre-fishing. So we weren't really on big fish, but we at least known of a couple different places where we thought, where there were some pre-spawners that were setting up. So we really felt like we could at least get our limit there, which we did. So that very first spot, 7:55 a.m., we get our limit. We're at about 13, 14 pounds, probably somewhere in there. And really, when we're in these tournaments, it's up to Landon and Jackson. I'll help them out with pre-fishing, and I'll help them out trying to find fish and stuff like that. But when it comes to tournament day, it's up to them to pick their spots. It's up to them to pick, what spots. Obviously, they pick those spots that worked well for us in pre-fishing. So typically what we'll do, we'll have anywhere from 8 to 10 different spots that we'll go and we'll fish, or areas that we'll fish. But really, it's all up to them. When it comes to tournament day, they got to make that call. I don't want to be the one making that call. I'm there to be basically their boat driver, and to help them out with equipment failures and stuff like that. But other than that, it's their call. So at 7:55, we get our fifth fish, and again, we're at like 13, 14 pounds, and Landon makes the call to leave. So He's making the call to leave. And the reason for this is because he's fishing this as a 2 day tournament. He does not want to burn out his fish on the first day and then not have a chance to secure the angler of the year on Sunday because we wasted all of our fish the first morning on Saturday. So we opted to leave this spot, right? We just caught our limit. And in fact, I think that was like our sixth fish. We had one in there that was too small that we couldn't keep. So we literally just caught our limit and we leave. Most people wouldn't do that. He decides to leave. So we decide to leave. And you'll hear me talk about when we go in, we're starting to talk about the pre-fishing stuff, but our focus really was on the northern side, right? We wanted to focus on the northern side, anything north of 276. We had done some pre-fishing where we had gone down to the south and to the west and really didn't have a lot of success there. The only place that we really had some success was on the dam. Of course, we always have success on the dam. That's pretty much where you go when you're struggling. You go to the dam, you can typically find fish pretty much all the time. Winter, summer, fall, spring, doesn't matter. Well, so we had some success on the dam, but that was about it. And then pretty much everything else, success-wise, was north. So anything north of 276. In fact, we got in the back of one of these pockets, and you'll see a picture here in a minute where the water temperature is actually 65 degrees when we got really far back in that pocket. So water temperatures are looking good. Everything's looking good. Only problem is the lake is down about 3 foot. So when the lake's down 3 foot, that limits what you can fish. So our plan was, we had about, I think it was 5 spots up in Hickory. So 5 particularly, I wouldn't even call them spots. They were basically pieces of cover, whether they be dock, fence line, a ditch, whatever it was. We had 5 pieces of cover that we were really going to hone in on and spend a lot of time fishing. So we leave our money spot in the morning, and we move over. We go over into Hickory, and when we do that, there are boats everywhere. This is a 200 boat tournament. I think it actually 189 boats this time, but almost 200 boat tournament. We go into Hickory. There's people everywhere. We pull in. We look at our first spot that we had tagged to be one of our prime spots. There's a boat on it. So we keep going just a little bit. We look at the second spot. There's another boat on it. And we're like, dang, we're 0 for 2. 0 for 3, 0 for 4. Finally, our fifth spot, which all of our fifth spot was literally this line of fence posts. But on the very last fence post, it's a lot bigger than the rest of them. And every time we pre-fished there was a fish on that very last post, the deepest post, which was only about 1.5 feet deep. But the deepest post and the biggest post, that was the one that they were sitting on. So we ended up fishing this post and not catching anything off the post. But luckily, there was a boat that was just up from us fishing another one of our spots that pulled out and left. And we were really paying attention to how he was fishing the dock. And our purpose when we went over there was, look, we're going to fish everything he didn't, and then we'll go back and fish what he did. And so that's what we did. We pulled over to this dock. We fished the spots that he didn't. And then within about 5 minutes, we actually ended up catching our next keeper, which ended up culling us out probably about 1/4 pound to 1/2 pound, which was really good. So we ended up getting out of there. Didn't catch any more fish off that spot. We were going to go down and fish at the other 2 spots that we had looked at in Hickory, but nothing was there. So we're like, man, this place is way, way too pressured with all of these boats. What are we going to do? Most of our spots are up on this northern side. Thank goodness we did good in the beginning, in the first hour when we're really just chasing big fish. So knowing that we're just chasing big fish, we don't need any more keepers. We know that we're hopefully top 20 with those, 13, 14. We're probably getting close to 15 pounds now. So we know we're in pretty good shape. Landon makes the call. He says, Dad, take me to the dam. So if you've ever been on Tawakoni before, Hickory is the farthest northern piece, except for going up in the Sabine River, that you can get. And the dam would be the farthest southern spot that you can get. So we're talking probably, 15-minute ride to go down there. You've got speed limits in the tournaments of 55. So you've got to, you can't just haul down there, but you can still go pretty good. So we decided to go to the dam. So we pick up, we bail on our total pre-fishing plan, which was to stay north of 276. And we go pretty much the farthest away from 276 that you can get, which is the dam. So we go down to the dam, and sure enough, Landon makes the perfect call. We get down there, we fished it for about 10 or 15 minutes. I think Jackson had one there that we ended up not being able to cull. And then Landon hooked into a really nice one that ended up giving us about an extra pound for a coal job. It was an awesome coal. So we got rid of that one. So now we're setting, at least 15 and a half pounds by now. So we're starting to climb the ladder. We didn't find anything else on the dam. We really fished that area on the dam that was really the deeper section. So once it got shallow, we bailed out. We only focused on really the really deep spots. So we left there, not really sure where we were going to go. We didn't want to hit any of our spots that we had pretty much set up for pre-fishing, because our plan was, look, we're good enough now for this tournament. Let's sell out tomorrow. Tomorrow, let's burn our spots. Let's really focus on trying to win the tournament. So that was our plan. So we ended up going up. There was a dock that was actually off to the right that we had some success on in previous trips to Tawakoni, not pre-fishing trips, actually like previous years. And I looked over there, and there was actually a boat on that dock. And so I was like, dang, there's a boat on that dock too. But there was a dock further down from them. They were fishing the other way that nobody was on. And I'd caught a few fish off that dock before. So I said, you know what, guys, let's just go over and let's just fish this dock. I know we're just searching for a big one. You never know where they're going to be. Let's try it. So we go over there. Jackson, Jackson and Lynn are flipping inside this dock, and making several casts. And I mentioned to Jackson, hey, try throwing a wacky rig in there, see if it gives us something different. Jackson throws a wacky rig in there and hooks into almost a 5 pounder. I think it was like 4.5, maybe somewhere there. I don't know the exact weights because we didn't want to weigh them. But definitely a really nice fish, a really good coal job. So boom, right there. Now we're up to what we think is about 17, which in reality was about 16, almost 17, but we're looking really good then. The rest of the day, really, we just kind of skitter scatter around the lake, trying to see if we could find anything else, and really never found that huge fish. But you'll see here, we actually did a pretty good job to finish it off. So let's take a look this is us pulling into the parking lot. We're pulling the fish out to go do the weigh-in. You'll kind of see the weigh-in. You'll see the weight announcements, and then we'll switch over and we'll look at Sunday as well. You guys can kind of see that. Then put those fish into the bag on Sunday, and then see what the final weigh-in was Sunday. And then last but not least, you're going to see here in just a few minutes where you will see the Angler of the Year, little image. That is Angler of the Year for Central Division. You'll see where the boys ended up there, and you'll also see how Rockwell ended up for Team of the Year. So after we finish that up, I'm going to come back to you, and we're going to talk a little bit more about the pre-fishing.
Gonna try to hold that spot. These guys are your current leaders for the Angler of the Year. Boat 93 from Rockwall, Landon and Jackson have got 5. Trying to hold that spot. Good bag, 1672. Good job, put you in third right now.
160.
160?
This guy does.
He was all good. I told him to do it, I didn't want to touch it. That's a good bag, boys. Good job.
Thank you.
You can swallow that hook.
No.
Oh.
Thank you. Yeah. Gas on his nose. Oh.
Trying to hold that ground, are you? Yeah? How did you look after yesterday? Anybody behind you get you? All right. Boat 160 from Rockwall, Landon and Jackson. As of yesterday, we're your current AOY leaders, and we're AOY winners last year, correct?
Yes, sir.
Yep. And you guys got 5 today. 1626 put you in 4th. Good job, fellas.
All right, so as you saw, phenomenal season, back-to-back Angler of the Year championships for Landon and Jackson. They'll give out the awards at the regional ceremonies, so it'll be super cool to see them get that award. That is a huge accomplishment. Congratulations to you, young men. That was well-deserved. You guys put a lot of time, a lot of effort into that thing, and it definitely paid off. I look forward to being out there with you next year and seeing if you can pull a repeat. And let's go see what we can do in regionals and state. And also, congratulations to the Rockwall High School fishing team in general. That is our 3rd year back to back that we have won Team of the Year. That in itself is just absolutely phenomenal. Typically, we are one of the smaller teams that are out there, even though we're one of the bigger schools. We don't have a lot of fishermen here in the city. So we're going against some of those East Texas guys that are really solid anglers. So super happy that we're able to hold that down. Hopefully, maybe we can finish out Landon's senior year with just one more Team of the Year, but I don't want to get selfish. Let's see what we can do. We'll put in the work and hopefully things will go our way. So before I finish this video, I did want to tell you guys kind of what worked for us and what didn't. So you knew that going into this tournament, a couple different things. The lake was down really low. I showed you that chart. Here it is again, where you can see that the lake is down. It says 2.15, but I'm telling you, it's down like 3 foot. Maybe the lake's usually flooded when I'm there or something, but it just seemed way down. There's no cover anywhere, no buckbrush to flip, no flipping basically, unless you're flipping docks. So the lake was down really low. And you knew also, if you've been following our channel, that we've had a lot of success going up in the river in Ray Hubbard. So my goal here was, hey, if I can get up in that Sabine River, then what we can do is basically repeat that same pattern we had on Hubbard, where we were catching some really good fish. You guys will see a few clips here and there of us catching those, but we thought maybe we could get that flat-sided crankbait going back up there in the Sabine River, repeat the same thing, and really, tear it up and have a great tournament. So we went up there and we basically bottomed out. We couldn't get up into the river. It was too shallow. The lake was down too low. So that whole plan was out. So our plan basically going into this tournament, after fishing pretty much everything, obviously the dam was a good place to fish. We knew that. And then pretty much anything north of 276. We had a lot of success on everything. If it was north of 276, the water was a lot warmer, especially up in that Hickory area. That's where we really put a lot of attention, but we didn't think what we didn't think about. And thank goodness we did good on our other spots, is all of the pressure that would be there during the tournament day. So just real quick, talk to you about some lures that actually work for us and a couple other techniques. One was, I don't like just going down the bank and fishing. That is very difficult for me to do. I lose focus. I get bored. I just don't feel like I'm being effective. I'm one of those people who likes to focus on a particular area or a particular spot, whether it be a dock, a rock pile, a log, whatever it is. I like to really hone in on that and spend more of my time there than I do just beating down the bank. So Tawakoni being so low, there's just no cover. There's no you can't. So someone had told us that, hey, the best thing to do is just put on a crankbait and go. So we tried that a couple times during the during our pre-fishing. We tried the shallow diving crankbaits. We tried the Texas red worms. We tried, let's see what else we tried. Oh, the chatterbaits, the fire crawl chatterbaits. We tried those. No bites. No bites on those things at all. No bites on the flat-sided crankbaits. No bites on the Texas red worms. Really just couldn't get, and I got a little note here if you're wondering what I'm looking at, but really just couldn't get anything going. So what we ended up doing was I went back and did some pre-fishing. It was actually on Thursday when it was really windy. I was still able to get up into Hickory Creek, so I had the day off to help Landon out, do some pre-fishing. He was going to meet me out there around 2:30. And so I went out to Google Earth and I broke down Hickory Creek on all of the cover that was under the water if the lake was really, really drawn down. So we're talking about vertical timber, vertical posts from docks, vertical fence lines, things like that. That's really what I was honed into. And so what I did is I went back up there. We started pre-fishing up there. And sure enough, when I really focused on the vertical stuff and the limited cover that was there, which there's not a lot of cover there, if you honed in on those pieces, you could actually get some pretty good fish. So you'll see a few images here of some fish I caught. I never caught anything big, but one thing that I did see, and I really think you guys should check this out, is check this out. This is a little bitty clip from me on live scope underneath one of these docks where I found a little ditch. It's pretty cool. All right, so wasn't that cool seeing those little fish down there? I threw a jig down there and I actually saw that fish come down, head down on the jig. I thought he was going to bite it. He looked at it and then he swam away. At that point, I actually bailed because that was on Thursday before the tournament. And I thought maybe I had found the money spot. Problem was we never got to fish that. It was too covered up. So what did work for us though, guys, was really sticking tight to those covers, finding those verticals covers. And as far as baits go, the main baits that really worked for us really was shaky heads. I mean, you guys hear us talk about it all the time, but shaky heads were key for us. Wobble heads worked for us on secondary points where we could find a little bit of rock or a little bit of cover where they weren't going to get hung up. Wobble heads worked for us really well. You guys know that jigs are always good to use. We caught a few good ones on the jigs as well. And then, of course, you heard me talk about it, the wacky worm. The wacky worm is key to finding some big fish, especially pressured fish. And when there's limited cover like this, the pressure just intensifies because everybody's fishing the same spots. Maybe throw something different. And wacky worm might not seem that different, but believe it or not, you'll probably be one of the few people that are throwing out there because it seemed, in the market as being kind of like, the weak lure, you're going to catch a bunch of tinnies. But the biggest fish we caught actually came off the wacky worm. And then last but not least, I tried a lot of different things with the chatterbaits and stuff that I talked to you about, but really what ended up working best for me didn't end up even being the red color or the chartreuse colors or anything like that. It was actually a double willow leaf War Eagle spinnerbait that was white. And when I could take that and really throw it past the poles or the vertical timber or whatever it was that I was trying to fish, throw it past those, let it drop down, and then slowly roll it back and make sure that I was ticking against each one of those posts. And if I ticked the post, I'd pause it, and that is almost every time when I would get the bite. So try that on your lake, especially if the cover is out of the water, your lake is really low. Hone in on anything you can find that is vertical, and I'm telling you, you're probably going to be able to locate some fish. Hey guys, I hope you enjoyed this. Congratulations once again to the Rockwall fishing team, and congratulations most of all to Jackson and Landon. That was absolutely phenomenal. Man, I can't wait to go into this regionals and state and see what you guys can pull off there. And then, if we have some success, that'll be awesome to continue on the season there. And then I really look forward to next year to see what you guys can put together. So guys, everybody that's out there in YouTube land, thank you so much for all the support. Really appreciate you guys. Look forward to give you some more tips. Take it easy. Have a good one.